that I won't talk about my brother who was murdered in a terrorist attack? Like, how low can you go? They invaded Israel and raped and murdered people on October 7th, but you're on a business trip. Don't forget that you're going home. Anti-Semites in Congress, Jews being lit on fire.
You have the opportunity. We have a plane. I can say that I have a friend who's been banned from visiting Australia.
A continent.
A whole continent has banned my friend for being a truth teller about Israel, the Jewish people, the evil we are up against. And while Australia, I've been talking about Australia for years, and unfortunately, we just had an incident there with Muslim doctors or nurses actually saying that they would kill Jews or Israelis, and yet they're banning my friend Hillel from going to Australia. Shalom, Hillel.
How you doing? It's surreal. I mean, literally surreal. Some random dude writing on the internet is banned from Australia. Like, I'm not a politician. I'm just a random dude. It's crazy. Totally crazy.
Yeah, well, first of all, you don't need me or the country of Australia to tell you you're no random dude, and there aren't enough voices like yourself or our voices telling the truth out there in a way that really wakes up people. And unfortunately, we live in a post-truth world, as Melanie Phillips, the journalist, likes to say, and they don't want to hear what you have to say. But I'd love to hear the reactions from the people in Australia to everything going on. You're being interviewed by media. I'm sure you're in touch with the organizations that were bringing you out there. What have been the reactions from that direction?
I mean, it's been a consensus that this is utterly insane. The love and support has been overwhelming, but not only from the people on the ground, but also the diplomatic people, the people who are involved in the diplomatic channel. So the first person I emailed was Mike Huckabee, good friend of the Fuld family and of the Jewish people. So he was the first person. I let him know that my visa had been canceled, basically, revoked. And then I sprung into action. I wrote, Minister of Foreign Affairs. I wrote Erdogan, who's the previous UN ambassador. Just really tried to kind of work all the different channels, and it really did. It escalated all the way up. I mean, all the way up. I mean, now the opposition is like making a whole agenda item out of this. It's just crazy. But the reality is that the bottom line, I haven't heard a peep back from the government. So I don't know exactly what to make of that.
Interesting. Yeah, I saw your message already, Erev Shabbat, here in Israel, and I know you said everyone keep it under wraps. We're trying to work this out diplomatically, and yet you're supposed to be already on a plane, and it hasn't. Actually,
I don't know if you noticed that, but I actually deleted that tweet because I was told, let's just work the diplomatic stuff, delete that tweet. So I did.
And the irony is, I've heard some of your media presences already. You've been saying that you weren't even going to be there talking about politics or the terror. You're going to be talking about Israel high-tech, innovation. You want to fill us in more on that?
Yeah, the topic was to inspire the audience there and talk about how Israel's making the world a better place and, how Israeli innovation leads the world, et cetera, et cetera. And it was nothing even remotely inflammatory about it. So the whole thing makes no sense. But I don't know if you caught one thing that not many people reported, but I did get a message back indirectly from the government. So it wasn't directly from the government official. It was someone that government official had told to tell me, we might be able to reverse this, but you have to commit to not talking about your brother.
That's insane.
Like literally insane. Like, really, you're conditioning my entry to the country on the fact that I won't talk about my brother who was murdered in a terrorist attack? Like, how low can you go?
Right. Our enemies make this a freedom of speech issue, as if you have no right to say what you're saying. But the right of they're trying to protect, right? I saw the official response to you is they're trying to protect Australians from, in a sense, the outbreak or the violence from the anti-Israel forces.
Right. I'm dangerous to the public.
They want to stop you. What?
I'm dangerous. I'm a danger to the public.
Right. It's the dangerous public can only be withheld and stopped if you're not allowed into the country.
Right. It's absurd. The whole thing's absurd. It really is absurd. There's no logical, rational way to explain this. I don't like pulling the anti-Semitism card, but there are some events that you just cannot explain any other way. And the fact that Australia lets in actual jihadists, like literal terror-supporting jihadists, and they don't let in a dude from Beit Shemesh, Israel, who talks about tech and a little politics on Twitter is laughable. It's comical.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong for you talking politics and calling out the lies from the war. And also, you want to share with us, like, you actually received like a whole multi-page descriptive write-out of your posts The Australian government was
Crazy.
looking through your social media profile
Totally
in
crazy. Totally
order
crazy.
to legitimize denying your visa and forbidding you from visiting Australia for 3 years. So,
That's
can
right.
you share with us some of those posts that so upset the Australian government?
Sure. I mean, the most obvious one and the first one they quoted was that I denied that there was a massacre like in the humanitarian zone in Gaza, and there wasn't. Meaning, all of the media that reported that then retracted their statement. There wasn't a massacre. So what I reported was, of course, completely accurate. But that's just one example. I mean, many of the things like I talked about what percentage of Muslims worldwide are radicalized, and I in the post I wrote, and I'm being conservative, and I was being conservative. I wrote 10 to 15%. It's probably a whole lot more than that.
Yep.
And I talked about the fact that Gazans as a whole are not innocent because we see that they voted for Hamas. We see that they paraded these hostages around, and we see that they invaded Israel and raped and murdered people on October 7th. So the whole there's Hamas and there's the rest of Gaza that's innocent is just bogus. And so I addressed that. And you know me, I talk facts. So sometimes the facts and the truth are hard to hear.
Yeah, 100%. And even though you wanted us to keep the issue of you being banned from Australia on, I already went public talking about the Israel summit. I'm sure you heard about that event that was
Yeah.
supposed to be, I think, in Houston, Texas. That again, the jihadists in Houston basically threatened violence, and that was an event that canceled. And here you're talking about Texas. Now you're talking Australia. We know how dangerous it's growing, and not just against the Jews, but also non-Jews, non-Muslims, and Muslims across the Western world and Europe. And you've been one of those voices also out there vocal about the growing danger to Jews around the world. Again, I'm with you. I'm trying to inspire Jews to come home because it's home, but every once in a while, when these things happen, reminding them, like, guys, I'm a religious guy. I understand from Jewish history anti-Semitism comes and goes, and it's basically a reminder for us who we are. And yeah, it's a reminder to come home. So you want to expand upon that for people also right now?
Listen, first of all, just to name one more tweet that they quoted, I I was talking about radical Islam being a global plague that offended them. Like anybody who says radicalism is not a global plague needs to be like institutionalized. At the end of the day, it really comes down to one thing. Back in the day, Avi, when me and you maybe moved to Israel, whatever amount of years ago, I was 30 years ago, I don't know how long you were, but Israel was a third world country. I mean, we couldn't get tuna fish here. We couldn't get deodorant here. We couldn't get oranges. Like I literally remember making Aliyah and thinking, I miss my Tropicana. Like this is what we dealt with back then. The only reason one would come to Israel 30 years ago was because they were hardcore Zionists. That was it.
Yep.
Today, I see absolutely no justification to not come here. If you're a Jew and you're outside of Israel, it's no longer accurate to say that you're comfortable there. It's no longer accurate to say that you have to lower your quality of life if you come here. I can't see any single reason other than individuals and have hard circumstances, but at least make a plan. As Rabbi Ephraim Goldberg says, American Jews are on a business trip, right? When you're on a business trip, you get a nice car, you get a nice hotel, you're living it up, but you're on a business trip. Don't forget that you're going home, right? So I say to my friends in the States, like, if I put a gun to your head, told you to get on a plane or I'll pull the trigger, you would get on a plane. And so just logic dictates that means you don't think that what's happening outside of Israel and America specifically is a gun. So what constitutes a gun if not anti-Semites in Congress, Jews being lit on fire? Literally, like, what has to happen? And it's just when you stick your head in the sand. I grew up asking how the German Jews not leave, but now I have my answer.
Yeah, that's really the craziest thing. We're literally witnessing. And the other thing I like to remind people of, I say, look at the Israeli population today. Over 95% of the Israeli population, Jews from the Middle Eastern countries, they had to run away. Jews from Russia, they finally were able to run away. Jews from Ethiopia, that they had to run away. Yet the Jews who we were blessed, like you and me, our families, blessed to live in the Western democracies where life was so good, we're the minority of the Jews who've returned home. I want to shake my fellow Jews. You have the opportunity. We have a plane. We have
Why
planes.
why are you going to Bavel? Why don't you just look at Yetzias Mitzrayim? Like 80%. I mean, God brings the 10 plagues, and we're like, yeah, we'll stay. Are you insane? Like, this is what we do in every generation. It's not something new, and it's shocking every time, but not really.
And the bottom line is, like, even you and I can go blue in the face about talking about the growing anti-Semitism, but when I talk to parents and grandparents, I'm like, just get your kids to be excited and love their Jewish story and the Jewish state of Israel. So if and when the day comes and they finally wake up, they're going to be getting on that plane.
And I like to say, everyone knows the famous story about the man who gets on the roof in the storm, right? And the water is, elevating, and he's like, oh, God will save me. And they send a boat, and he doesn't get on the boat.
One way or another, I know this, the majority of the Jewish people are going to be in the Jewish state of Israel within a number of years. I don't know exactly, but we're almost there.
Right.
And the interesting thing is going to be a challenge for our rabbis because there are Torah halachic implications for the day that a majority, 50.1% of the Jewish people are back living in our ancestral homeland. That's going to be a changer. It's not that far off.
Right.
And it'll be interesting what happens and how our Jewish Orthodox world then deals with that change. But the blessing is we're here and
Right.
you're here, and we can use our voices to continue to inspire everyone with the truth and the inspiring truth.
We celebrate Purim and Hanukkah and Pesach. All of these holidays that we love today were once tragedies. Purim was almost the near genocide of the Jewish people. Hanukkah was a war we were not going to win. Pesach was slavery for 210 years. All of them we celebrate today. And so same will be with Simchas Torah. We will dance again because Am Yisrael Chai is not just an empty phrase. It's a historical reality. And if you don't believe me, open your phone and look how many Babylonian friends you have saved in your contacts.